Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS fights fraud aimed at charities. Joins International Awareness Week. IR 2020-235, October 19th, 2020, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service is combating fraud by once again joining organizations around the world to highlight the third annual International Charity Fraud Awareness Week, October 19th through the 23rd. International Charity Fraud Awareness Week, otherwise known as ICFAW, brings together everyone involved in the charity and not-for-profit sector to raise awareness and share good practices for tackling fraud and cybercrime. This award-winning campaign is led by a coalition of over 40 charities, regulators, law enforcement organizations, representative and umbrella bodies, and other not-for-profit stakeholders. The IRS is partnering with ICFAW as part of its ongoing commitment to fight fraud against charities, businesses, and individuals. All charities are susceptible to fraud and can be targeted. Those providing services and supporting local communities may be especially vulnerable to fraudsters attempting to exploit the current pandemic or weather-related disasters. More than ever, charities need to be fraud aware and take steps to protect their money, people, and assets from harm. Quote, especially during these uncertain times, it's vital for everyone to remain vigilant against fraud, identity theft, scams, and schemes, end quote, said IRS Director of Exempt Organizations and Government Entities, Margaret von Leanon. Quote, cybercriminals are always on the lookout for new opportunities, and COVID-19 is just one more chance to take advantage of unsuspecting individuals and charities. The campaign provides resources that can help protect charities and other organizations. So obviously, the more chaos there is in the world, there's going to be the frauds, people that want to commit fraud have more opportunity to do so, and the charity or acting as if they're charitable organizations in some way, shape, or form is one way that fraud can take place. So this year's campaign has three core messages: be fraud aware, take time to check, and keep your charity safe. The ICFAW Charity Fraud Hub, there's a link to that here, features helpful documents, free tutorials, videos, case studies, and on-demand webinars, including COVID-19 and charity fraud, which what to watch out for and how to stay safe. Charities and anyone else interested in fighting fraud can also take part in the ICFAW social media campaign using hashtag #CharityFraudOut. Hashtag #CharityFraudOut. Those encouraged to participate in the week's activities include trustees, staff, and volunteers from charities, non-government organizations, and nonprofits, organizations that represent the interest of nonprofits, accountants, auditors, and those acting as professional advisors to nonprofits, regulators, law enforcement officials, and policymakers working to safeguard nonprofits. In addition to crooks who target charities, those who create fake charities are a problem for nonprofit community as well. In fact, fake charities are once again part of the IRS, quote, dirty dozen tax schemes for 2020. So obviously they could target the charities themselves that are real charities, or they could set up fake charities to try to pick up money or collect money for a fake charity. So taxpayers can find legitimate and qualified charities with the tax-exempt organization search tool on irs.gov. There's a link to that here. So if you're giving to a charity, you want to make sure you're giving to a legitimate charity. It's worth it to take your time and research the charity before giving to a charity. So visit the Fraud Advisory Panel. There's a link to that here. Website to learn more about ICFAW and how to get involved.